You might want to double-check your pantry because some of your favorite canned goods are about to disappear, and much sooner than you think. From secret recipes getting scrapped to ingredient shortages that nobody saw coming, today we're diving into 15 mysterious canned foods that could be gone by June 2025. Stick around, you'll want to stock up before it's too late. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing some of your favorite pantry staples have completely vanished. No warning, no headlines, just gone. That's not a distant nightmare. It's happening right now. As of April 2025, dozens of canned goods around the world are facing silent extinction. Supply chains are breaking, farms are collapsing, and companies are pulling products without even notifying the public. What's worse? Some of these canned treasures will be gone by June, forever. From exotic fruits to time-honored delicacies, today's list exposes the 15 most mysterious canned goods slipping through our fingers. You might recognize a few, or discover ones you didn't even know existed until it's too late. So before these hidden gems disappear from your local shelves, grab a pen, take notes, and maybe make a shopping trip you'll thank yourself for later. Let's dive straight into the countdown before time runs out. Canned baby corn. Baby corn might seem like a simple ingredient, a staple in stir-fries and salads, but its future is hanging by a thread. As of March 2025, global reports indicate a severe shortage of baby corn exports, especially from Thailand, the world's leading supplier. This tiny vegetable requires very specific growing conditions and extremely labor-intensive harvesting, making it highly vulnerable to climate disruptions. Unfortunately, Thailand has been hit by record droughts and unexpected floods within the same growing season, crippling their agricultural output. According to the International Food Policy Research Institute, IFPRI, baby corn production dropped by nearly 38% in early 2025 compared to previous years. To make matters worse, rising production costs and labor shortages are forcing many farmers to abandon this crop altogether in favor of more resilient alternatives. For consumers, this means skyrocketing prices and increasingly empty shelves. Major grocery chains in the US and Europe have already reported significant delays in restocking canned baby corn. If you enjoy having this sweet, crunchy vegetable in your recipes, now is the time to stock up. Because by June 2025, canned baby corn may no longer be just rare. It might be completely wiped out from global markets. Canned sardines. Canned sardines have long been a pantry hero, affordable, packed with protein, and boasting a shelf life that seems almost endless. But don't be fooled. Sardines are swimming into serious trouble, and by June 2025, they might disappear from your local store entirely. As of February 2025, the Southeast Asian Fisheries Development Center, CFDEC, reported a sharp 41% decline in sardine populations, largely due to overfishing and changing ocean temperatures. The Philippines, one of the world's largest sardine exporters, has introduced aggressive new fishing regulations aimed at saving collapsing fish stocks. Seasonal bans are now longer, fishing zones are smaller, and sardine fleets are facing heavy restrictions. While these measures are critical for environmental recovery, they have severely choked the global supply chain for canned sardines. Adding fuel to the fire, European processors, particularly in Portugal and Spain, are dealing with skyrocketing operational costs, leading some factories to shut down entirely. As a result, sardine prices have surged by nearly 22% in just the first quarter of 2025, according to the Global Seafood Alliance. For everyday consumers, this means your favorite canned sardine brands could either vanish or become luxury items. Already, major retailers are limiting quantities per customer, and smaller grocery stores are removing them from inventory altogether. If sardines are a staple in your emergency food supply or part of your healthy eating routine, it's critical to act now. Stockpiling a few extra cans today could save you a lot of frustration and money, just a few months down the road. After all, once sardines are gone from the market, it could take years, if not decades, for the fisheries to recover enough for mass production to resume. The clock is ticking, and the ocean isn't waiting. Canned evaporated goat milk. If you think regular dairy shortages are frustrating, get ready for an even bigger hit. Canned evaporated goat milk is on the brink of extinction. As of April 2025, global demand for goat milk products has skyrocketed. by 27% according to the International Dairy Federation, IDF. But here's the catch. Goat populations in key producing regions like New Zealand, France, and parts of the US have been shrinking due to extreme weather patterns and rising feed costs. Unlike cows, goats are extremely sensitive to changes in their environment. Extended droughts, flash floods, and unstable temperatures have slashed breeding rates and milk production across the board. As a result, major producers are diverting what little milk they have toward fresh consumption markets, leaving the canned, evaporated version, once a niche but stable product, gasping for survival. Compounding the crisis, the cost of canning. Materials themselves has risen by nearly 18% since early 2025, according to the World Packaging Organization. Aluminum shortages and energy price spikes are making it increasingly unprofitable to produce canned dairy products at scale. Several mid-sized dairy cooperatives have already announced plans to phase out evaporated goat milk entirely by mid-2025. For consumers, this spells disaster, especially for those who rely on goat milk due to allergies or dietary preferences. Grocery store inventory levels are dropping fast, and online sellers are already posting out-of-stock notices on bulk purchases. If you use canned evaporated goat milk for baking, specialty recipes, or as a shelf-stable alternative to cows, milk, now is the time to act. Buy a few extra cans while you still can, because after June 2025, finding this product might be like hunting for a needle in a haystack, and when it's gone, it could stay gone for years. Canned chestnut at first glance, canned chestnuts might not seem like an essential pantry item, but if you love holiday recipes, gourmet cooking, or unique snacks, you're about to lose a hidden treasure. As of March 2025, the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, reported that global chestnut production, especially from China, the world's largest producer, has plummeted by an alarming 46% compared to previous years. The main culprit? A devastating blight known as Cryphonectria parasitica is sweeping through chestnut orchards across China and parts of southern Europe. This aggressive fungal infection not only kills trees rapidly, but also leaves surviving crops vulnerable to pests and rot. Combined with unpredictable weather events like sudden frosts and droughts, chestnut farmers are fighting a losing battle. Canned chestnuts, once a stable and seasonal favorite, are directly impacted because they rely heavily on surplus fresh harvests. With fresh chestnut availability collapsing, manufacturers are slashing production quotas or canceling canned product lines entirely. Some industry insiders predict that by mid-2025, canned chestnuts could disappear from international shelves altogether, and there are no backup suppliers ready to fill the gap. Adding to the chaos, transportation costs for specialty goods like chestnuts have soared by over 25% since January 2025, according to the International Freight Index. Importers in the US and Europe are reluctant to take risks on such a fragile and dwindling product. For consumers, this spells the end of quick access to this unique ingredient. No more easy chestnut stuffing for Thanksgiving. No more elegant chestnut purees for holiday desserts. If you have recipes that rely on canned chestnuts, or if you simply love having them as a healthy, high-fiber snack, your window to stock up is closing fast. By June 2025, canned chestnuts could very well be a thing of the past, joining the growing list of once common foods slipping into extinction, right before our eyes. Canned butter beans, often praised for their creamy texture and hearty flavor, are quietly heading toward a major shortage, and few people are talking about it. As of January 2025, the Global Pulse Confederation, GPC, reported a steep 34% decline in butterbean yields, mainly due to relentless droughts hammering key growing regions like Argentina, South Africa, and the southern United States. Butterbeans are notoriously sensitive to moisture levels. Without consistent rainfall during critical growth periods, plants produce fewer pods, and the beans that do mature are often too small or stunted to meet commercial standards. Recent satellite data from NASA's Soil Moisture Active Passive (SMAP) mission shows record low soil moisture levels in butterbean farms across Latin America. But the drought isn't the only enemy. Inflation is also driving up fertilizer and irrigation costs by double digits, making it almost impossible for small farmers to stay profitable. Many are switching to hardier, more drought-tolerant crops, like chickpeas or lentils instead, crops that require less water and fetch better market prices. For canned butter beans, the impact is brutal. Processing companies are scaling back orders, and some brands have already announced temporary suspensions of butterbean lines until the next viable harvest, whenever that may be. If you love butterbeans for stews, casseroles, or quick-eye, protein-packed meals, don't wait around. Stocking up now could save you from serious sticker shock, or worse, a complete disappearance, by mid-2025. Because when the droughts drag on and the shelves run dry, it won't just be a bean shortage. It'll be another silent casualty in a growing global food crisis. Canned butter beans. Butter beans, often praised for their creamy texture and hearty flavor, are quietly heading toward a major shortage, and few people are talking about it. As of January 2025, the Global Pulse Confederation, GPC, reported a steep 34% decline in butterbean yields, mainly due to relentless droughts hammering key growing regions like Argentina, South Africa, and the southern United States. Butterbeans are notoriously sensitive to moisture levels. Without consistent rainfall during critical growth periods, plants produce fewer pods, and the beans that do mature are often too small or stunted to meet commercial standards. Recent satellite data from NASA's Soil Moisture Active Passive (SMAP) mission shows record low soil moisture levels in butterbean farms across Latin America. But the drought isn't the only enemy. Inflation is also driving up fertilizer and irrigation costs by double digits, making it almost impossible for small farmers to stay profitable. Many are switching to hardier, more drought-tolerant crops, like chickpeas or lentils instead, crops that require less water and fetch better market prices. For canned butter beans, the impact is brutal. Processing companies are scaling back orders, and some brands have already announced temporary suspensions of butterbean lines until the next viable harvest, whenever that may be. If you love butterbeans for stews, casseroles, or quick-eye, protein-packed meals, don't wait around. Stocking up now could save you from serious sticker shock, or worse, a complete disappearance, by mid-2025. Because when the droughts drag on and the shelves run dry, it won't just be a bean shortage, it'll be another silent casualty in a growing global food crisis. Canned haggis might sound like a niche product, but for many, especially fans of traditional Scottish cuisine, it's a pantry staple that's about to become a rare collector's item. As of February 2025, new export regulations from the United Kingdom have placed heavy restrictions on the sale and shipment of meat products containing offal, the key ingredient in authentic haggis. Following a series of global health inspections, several countries, including the United States and parts of Europe, have tightened their import laws around foods containing sheep lung and other organ meats. Since genuine haggis relies on these ingredients for its traditional flavor, many producers find themselves unable to comply without fundamentally altering the recipe, something they refuse to do. The Scottish Federation of Meat Processors reported a staggering 48% drop in international haggis exports in early 2025, and several major canned haggis brands have already announced discontinuations for overseas markets. Complicating the issue, rising production costs and stricter health standards at processing plants have made manufacturing canned haggis even less economically viable. According to the Food Standards Scotland Agency, new labeling requirements and sterilization protocols could push some small haggis producers out of business altogether. For consumers outside of the UK, this means canned haggis could completely vanish from shelves by mid-2025, if it hasn't already in your area. Specialty food shops are struggling to keep inventory, and online stores are posting last stock notices more frequently every week. If you've ever wanted to experience the authentic taste of Scotland, now's your chance. Stock up while you still can, because after June 2025, canned haggis might become nothing more than a culinary legend, remembered only by those lucky enough to have tasted it before it disappeared. Canned jackfruit. If you're a fan of plant-based diets or exotic dishes, you've probably come across canned jackfruit, a miracle ingredient that mimics pulled pork and other meats with surprising authenticity. But brace yourself, canned. Jackfruit is facing an uncertain future, and by June 2025, it might become one of the hardest items to find on supermarket shelves. As of March 2025, agricultural reports from India, the world's largest jackfruit producer, have revealed a catastrophic 42% drop in harvests compared to previous years. The main drivers? Unpredictable monsoon seasons, extreme heat waves, and the rapid spread of jackfruit mosaic virus, a plant disease that stunts growth and rots the fruit from within. Compounding the crisis, domestic demand for jackfruit within India has surged dramatically. Thanks to its rising popularity as a meat substitute, more local businesses are hoarding fresh jackfruit for immediate processing into ready-to-eat foods, leaving very little surplus for canning and export. Exporters are now prioritizing fresh jackfruit over canned products because it yields higher profits in a shorter time. Meanwhile, factories specializing in canned jackfruit are struggling with labor shortages, skyrocketing transportation costs, and container bottlenecks at major ports like Chennai and Mumbai. According to the Indian Ministry of Commerce, jackfruit exports, including canned forms, have dropped by nearly 29% in just the first quarter of 2025. For consumers, the writing is on the wall. Canned jackfruit, once an affordable and accessible meat alternative, is already disappearing from health food stores and mainstream retailers alike. Online listings show prices climbing by as much as 40% compared to last year, with many sellers imposing strict purchase limits. If you enjoy cooking with jackfruit or rely on it for plant-based recipes, now is the time to act. Otherwise, you could be left scrambling or paying a premium for whatever little stock remains once summer 2025 hits. Canned lychee. Sweet, fragrant, and refreshingly tropical, canned lychee has been a favorite for desserts and exotic dishes worldwide. But as of March 2025, the future of canned lychee is looking dangerously uncertain, and it's disappearing faster than most consumers realize. Vietnam, China, and Thailand, the world's top lychee producers, are battling devastating pest outbreaks, particularly the invasive lychee Aranos mite. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, these mites have destroyed nearly 40% of Vietnam's lychee crops in the last growing season alone. Add to that unseasonal rainstorms and erratic temperature shifts, and the result is a massive shortfall in fresh lychee harvests. The problem hits canned lychee production even harder. Canning requires the highest grade fruit, perfectly ripe, unblemished, and consistent in size. With so much of the harvest damaged or stunted, fewer fruits are qualifying for the canning process. Processors are left scrambling for clean, export-quality lychees, and many are slashing production schedules to bare minimum levels. Recent trade data from the Asian Development Bank shows that lychee exports from Southeast Asia have already dropped 32% compared to last year, with further declines expected throughout 2025. For everyday consumers, this means skyrocketing prices, limited availability, and a real possibility of total disappearance from grocery shelves by June 2025. Specialty retailers are rationing stock, and major chains are quietly pulling canned lychee from their offerings altogether. If you love canned lychee in your cocktails, fruit salads, or desserts, now's the time to act. This tropical treat might soon become an extremely rare and expensive luxury item. Before it vanishes for good, grab a few cans while you still can. Canned octopus. Canned octopus has always been a gourmet item, prized for its tender texture and rich flavor, but soon it might become something far rarer, nearly impossible to find. As of January 2025, global conservation efforts to protect dwindling octopus populations have triggered major fishing restrictions across key producing regions like Spain, Morocco, and Japan. According to the Marine Stewardship Council, MSC, octopus stocks in the North Atlantic and parts of the Mediterranean have declined by over 30% in just the past 2 years. Overfishing, climate change, and habitat degradation have all contributed to this sharp collapse. In response, governments have imposed strict seasonal bans, quota reductions, and no fishing zones to help populations recover. This is a critical move for the environment, but for canned octopus production, it's devastating. Factories that once operated year-round are now facing months-long shutdowns due to lack of supply. A recent report from Seafood Source revealed that canned octopus production in Galicia, Spain, a global hotspot, has fallen by 45% as of early 2025. Prices have already surged by more than 25%, and many specialty food importers are warning that supplies will run out entirely by mid-2025. Even if fishing quotas are relaxed in future years, octopus populations will take a long time to rebound, meaning canned options could stay rare for years. For consumers, this means that canned octopus is moving from a luxury treat to a near-extinct commodity. If you're a fan of seafood tapas, Mediterranean dishes, or simply like having exotic options in your pantry, now's the time to stock up. Because once canned octopus vanishes from the shelves, it could be a very long wait before it ever makes a comeback, if it comes back at all. Canned bread. It sounds like a quirky novelty, but canned bread, especially the famous brown bread varieties from New England, has a long history. Sadly, by June 2025, it might also become part of that history. As of March 2025, multiple specialty bakeries that produce canned bread are announcing closures, citing skyrocketing production costs and supply chain bottlenecks. Unlike mass-market loaves, canned bread relies on traditional methods, slow baking, specific ingredient blends, and high-temperature canning. This artisanal approach means even slight increases in raw material or labor costs hit producers hard. According to the American Bakers Association, wheat prices rose by 19% in early 2025 due to poor harvests and global supply shortages. Meanwhile, the cost of tin plate, the material used to make cans, is up nearly 23%, creating a double blow for manufacturers. Small bakeries simply can't keep up. Several iconic brands have already announced limited production runs, focusing solely on regional sales and cutting national distribution entirely. Online suppliers are reporting major back orders, and some popular varieties are already marked as sold out indefinitely. Canned bread's downfall is more than just a novelty loss. It represents a fading piece of culinary heritage. For many, it's tied to traditions, camping trips, survival prepping, and unique dessert recipes. If you want to experience or preserve a slice of food history, don't wait. Grab a few cans of brown bread while you still have the chance. Because once these specialty bakeries shut down for good, and large manufacturers show no interest in picking up such a niche product, canned bread could vanish completely. By the time summer 2025 rolls around, you might find yourself explaining to future generations that yes, bread once came in a can, and yes, it was delicious. Canned maple syrup products. When you think of maple syrup, you probably imagine the classic glass bottles or plastic jugs, but canned maple syrup products have long been a favorite for survivalists, campers, and gourmet enthusiasts. Unfortunately, by June 2025, these sweet staples may become nearly impossible to find. As of February 2025, the Quebec Maple Syrup Producers, QMSP, reported a drastic 28% decrease in sap yields due to an unusually short and erratic sugaring season. Climate change is the main culprit. Warmer winters and unpredictable temperature swings have disrupted the delicate freeze-thaw cycle that maple trees rely on to produce sap. With less sap available, producers are prioritizing high-demand fresh syrups packaged for immediate sale. Canning maple syrup, which requires extra steps like sterilization, specialized packaging, and longer storage times, has quickly become an expensive and less profitable venture. Many producers have scaled back canned product lines or eliminated them altogether. Adding to the pressure, the North American Metal Packaging Alliance confirmed that supply chain issues are causing shortages and price hikes in the canning industry. The result? Fewer canned syrup products hitting shelves, higher prices, and limited exports. If you're someone who values the extra-long shelf life and rugged convenience of canned maple syrup, now is the time to act. Stock is already disappearing from specialty stores, and online retailers are posting low inventory warnings at an alarming rate. By summer 2025, canned maple syrup products may go from a cozy pantry staple to a rare collector's item. Missing out could mean paying outrageous premiums or losing access altogether to one of nature's finest, purest sweeteners. Don't let this golden treasure slip away. Canned squid ink. Exotic, rich, and essential for gourmet dishes like black pasta and seafood risotto, canned squid ink has always been a niche luxury. But as of February 2025, this dark delicacy is facing a serious threat, one that could wipe it off global shelves by the summer. Ocean acidification, driven by rising CO2 levels, is wreaking havoc on squid populations worldwide. According to the Oceanic Conservation Alliance, OCA, global squid stocks have dropped by nearly 31% over the past 3 years. Acidifying oceans interfere with squid development, making them more vulnerable to predators and less able to reproduce effectively. Major squid fishing nations like Japan, Spain, and Peru are already imposing catch limits to protect dwindling populations. This conservation effort, while critical for the environment, has dramatically reduced the availability of squid ink for commercial harvesting and processing. Compounding the issue, extracting squid ink is a labor-intensive, low-yield process. With fewer squids available and rising labor and transportation costs, canned squid ink production is becoming increasingly unsustainable. Seafood processors are scaling back production or focusing exclusively on fresh, high-end restaurant markets, leaving canned options to wither away. Retailers are feeling the squeeze. Prices for canned squid ink have surged by over 38% since late 2024, and many gourmet food stores are warning of limited restocks throughout 2025. If you love experimenting with culinary arts, or simply want to preserve access to one of the ocean's most unique flavors, now is the time to act. Canned squid ink is rapidly moving from specialty to scarcity. Stock up now or risk missing out on one of the rarest and most striking ingredients the sea has to offer. If there's one thing today's list proves, it's that no product, no matter how iconic or obscure, is guaranteed a spot on our shelves forever. From environmental disasters to rising production costs and shifting consumer habits, the world of canned goods is changing faster than ever before. By June 2025, many of these once familiar items might be gone for good, turning into culinary legends whispered about but rarely seen. If you spotted any favorites on today's list, don't wait. Now is the time to stock up, preserve a little piece of food history, and stay one step ahead of the shortages. Which canned item surprised you the most? Are you planning to hunt down any of these rare finds before they vanish? Let's talk about it in the comments. I'm curious to hear what's going straight into your shopping cart. And hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. More essential market insights are coming your way soon.